Guys, welcome back to the stream. This is Connor from Futures Analytica, bringing you guys another live futures trading session. We're going to jump right into it by switching it into regression mode. We're going to do this because of this pretty clear range that we have built up here. We're having somewhat uncorrelated delta with price, so that's going to confirm our selection of regression mode at this point. We are going to be watching closely at these levels here. This one did end up getting broken off here, but we are still going to be watching that zone. Here, if we get a breakout in the upward direction with strong positive delta, we might actually have a trend switch right off the bat. Also, to answer your question, guys, the R8A version does work on ES. It is parameter adaptive. It'll actually work on any instrument that you can trade regular polarity with, which is pretty much everything. We just got filled into a short trade here. Almost won it there. Now we're back to our break even. Unfortunately, we do end up losing the first trade of the day, bringing us down to negative 359. Just doing an audio check here. I had a viewer say that my audio is weak. We're getting a breakout in this direction here. Or we just got filled short. So I'm glad we didn't switch into trend there. That would have been a little bit preemptive. Just got filled long. End up winning that trade. We're up to 507 now. So we're out of the pit on that loss, and we're now into profit. Got a huge block of imbalances there. We ended up getting the formation of two new derived zones. Just got filled short there. We are still in regression mode at this point. just ended up getting filled on that one. Up to 962 now. We ended up just getting filled long there. Also, guys, the new version of the software is trained already. You don't need to run it on sim first, unless, of course, you want to learn the strategy, which I suggest doing on a simulated account. But you don't need to train it. Also, guys, if you're getting any errors with, like, let's say the heuristic parameter optimization button turning itself off, make sure that you open up your NinjaScript output while you're trading with Polarity with machine learning. You should always have your NinjaScript output enabled just so you can see any errors that are happening so you can fix that. It'll tell you exactly what the error is and exactly how to fix it. I'm just going to move my chart trade around for you guys here. You can see that this, in fact, is not an overlay. This is actually real. You can also see my live executions over here. Still in regression mode. Very, very tight range right here. Trying to take advantage of this very, very bound movement at this 17565 level. I'm sorry, guys, about the audio being bad. I'm not exactly sure why that is the case, but I will definitely have to look into that after the stream. I just turned off our noise suppressor, so there might be a little more background noise, but it could potentially fix the issue with my audio. Not sure if that's actually the case. We ended up losing that trade right there, down to 1800 on the day. I understand you guys are very, very interested in copying my trades, asking exactly which indicators I'm using, exactly what values I'm using, exactly what my polarity settings are up to date, tick by tick, but unfortunately, that is not going to happen. If you guys are looking for a trade copying service, this is not it, and I highly suggest going elsewhere. Ended up losing that trade, unfortunately. unfortunately, we've been getting kind of a string of losses here. Hopefully, we can stay in the green and end up finishing at our profit target. But let's see here, not doing too well at this point. Yes, guys, you do need to make an effort in order to actually learn the system and make it work. Um, Guys, just think about this. If you're purchasing a system for $500 and you expect it to print you $5,000 a day without any effort, um, that's kind of a silly presupposition. There's obviously a learning curve. Um, you don't just go to college and then ask and have people do all the work for you and expect to be able to be successful in the workplace. So, kind of confused by some of these viewers' questions here. That's actually pretty funny. Thank you for the question, Henry, and I appreciate that. And yes, the values in the description are actually updated to what we have as our initial settings. So um, those are what we start the day with before they are optimized. But of course, there are settings in there which are not changed throughout the stream. There are only 3 settings that are changed throughout the stream, and that is the adversary detection, that is imbalance volume, and imbalance ratio. Everything else stays static because that's important for actually how the logic is dictated on how it trades on these multi-tick level strategies. Also, guys, make sure you have the maximum and minimum values that are optimized set to reasonable amounts. I believe I will send out a document after this on exactly how how that setting works and how you can use it to your advantage if there's any clarification that needs to happen on that. Martin asked, is it possible to be profitable without the heuristic parameter optimization? Absolutely, certainly. The heuristic parameter optimization is just supposed to enhance and improve the performance of the strategy, but for over 2 years, we used this without machine learning, without the heuristic parameter optimization button. That was pretty big factor in making this happen in the first place. So the strategy is solid on its own. You don't actually need this. This is just something that can help improve your performance. We actually still have a lot of users who are using Polarity V6 just because it's more stable since the machine learning part is still in beta and we're working out the bugs on that. But yes, absolutely you can use it without that. This user said, sure, just increase the price and give a finished product. That is really funny, Anthony. What do you think that we're doing every day with software development? I'm not exactly sure you understand how software development works, but it is a process, and we're working on making the strategy as good as possible. Just magically increasing the price is not going to do anyone any favors. I think we've priced this pretty aggressively for the consumer. I think we've made this pretty generally affordable for what it gets. So that's I think that's a pretty funny thing to say, especially with what you said before. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the comments, the support. And the percentages at the bottom of my chart, this is the change in delta compared to the last bar. If we end up losing this trade, we're going to switch it directly into trend mode here. Just because we kind of missed this breakout down here. We weren't really watching it. Ended up getting filled there. We're back up to 2,400. I think we're a little bit above what our profit is, so we're out of that drawdown that we were in. Hey Rasul, to answer your question, the purchase does include future updates to the software. So anyone who purchased the PolarityATI, whether or not they were at the very beginning, in the middle, or near now, they got the machine learning update for free, and that will continue to happen. So any updates to Polarity, if you have Polarity, you will get that for free. Of course, there is the question of new products. Like let's say that we released a new indicator like an entropy indicator that was completely separate from Polarity. That would be, for example, not a included upgrade, but we would give you guys a loyalty discount on that anyway. So Jessica says, took him about 3 months to begin to understand the setup, but now getting much more consistent results. It's a great product. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, and there's certainly a learning curve. I think that it's we're trying to make that learning curve as shallow as possible, not keeping it accessible to everyone. But of course, everyone has their own learning styles. Everyone has different trade experience, and of course, that's why feedback is just so important. And we love to receive that from you guys. So we have a pretty big variance in how long that does end up taking for people to learn the strategy, but um, we end up having a pretty big pipeline of people who are able to figure it out. So glad to see that. I think we previously lost a trade over here. Wasn't really watching, and then we ended up winning one over here. So that's up to 32.79. Hey ASO, love the question, which was any advice on creating an automated strategy of my own for software, etc. So first, I would try and quantify an actual edge. So that is your number one hurdle as a trader is quantifying an edge. And I don't suggest looking online and finding one. I suggest actually just first starting out and tinkering around and seeing what makes sense, what can actually predict. This might not necessarily be your holy grail that'll end up working, but you might get a better understanding of how that works. So likely how that pipeline will go is that you'll find that indicators alone cannot predict where price is going to go. So I would look more at market microstructure and exactly how that influences the market, or I'd look at, let's say, maybe news arbitrage. So with those two things, those are certainly quantifiable edges that take advantage of fundamental market aspects. So with news arbitrage, you're taking advantage, of course, of the speed, leverage, and low spread of futures trading products. So that would be just so you have a news scanner and you have it try and take advantage of large news events coming out and closing those positions quickly once the market reacts to them. So that's probably the easiest one, but it's less consistent in terms of um, trade opportunities. So it's going to be a low trade opportunity, but a pretty high win rate. Another one I'd say is to look more into level 2 data. So one exciting thing that I've been working on for quite a while is quantifying an edge on counter spoofing. So if you guys are familiar with what spoofing is in the markets, it's when big firms take advantage of the fact that you can submit orders and never have them filled by canceling them. So big firms will end up submitting limit orders around where price is currently sitting. And a lot of people will think that is induced demand or, of course, induced supply, and the price will react accordingly. Of course, those orders are actually never intended to get filled, and they often end up being canceled. So, and then the spoofer will take advantage of that artificial price movement in both directions. So, what we found is we found a way to find those limit order cancellations as they happen and take advantage of that before the spoofer can, or at least try and close that loophole edge. Of course, this is a pretty intensive process, and we haven't really worked out all the kinks on that yet, but that is something we're working on, and that's just an example of something that does exist in the market as a real edge, and yeah, it's something that you can be creative on. Also, if you already have an edge and you manually enter and exit with it, if you want to know how to automate that, I highly suggest talking to a programmer on, let's say, Upwork or Fiverr. I actually recommend Upwork over Fiverr and hiring someone overseas. These people are very talented, and there are a lot of NinjaTrader specialists on there. Our initial product was used by someone, or was created by someone on Upwork, and they did a very good job of that. Especially if it's just for your personal use, that'll be more than enough, and it's pretty affordable too. You're probably going to be looking at under 5,000 if you're just trying to make a simple product for your own personal usage in terms of the amount of funding and the level of complexity the strategy has. Just make sure that you're able to explain to that developer exactly what the strategy requirements are and exactly how it enters and whatnot. You cannot humanize the um, uh, what's it called, the entry and exits in any way. Ended up getting filled into a long trade there. Ended up getting filled up to $4,541. Ended up getting filled there, up to 4,900 on the day. I think that we're probably going to call it there at that point. We weren't really very on top of things with trend and regression. We left it a trend there, even though maybe we shouldn't have. But at that point, it didn't actually matter that much, just because I've been kind of using machine learning as a crutch in a lot of ways, which I apologize. I should probably be more on top of switching in between the two, just from an educational standpoint, so you guys are learning good practices and whatnot. So I apologize about that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I do appreciate you guys' support. And just to answer this last question, does this work best in ranging markets? I actually would say it does, just because the market is ranging most of the time, and it's a pretty clear indicator of when you should be in regression mode. Um, but yeah, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it.